From the First World War I relics to the modern Bushmaster, this is Southern Steel, the complete evolution of Australian armor. Let's start with the genesis, the interwar years 1918 to 1939. Heavy Tank Mark IV, the Loner. Australia didn't have its own tanks in World War I, but Australian crews manned these British iron beasts on the Western Front, cutting their teeth on the very first tanks in history. A 7V Mephisto, the Trophy, the only surviving German World War I tank in the world. In a daring night raid in 1918, Australian troops dragged this abandoned German monster across no man's land to bring it home as the ultimate war prize. Vickers Medium Mark II, the Trainer. In 1929, this became the first tank actually owned by the Australian Army. Only 4 were bought to train the first generation of Australian tank commanders during the Great Depression. Vickers Light Tank Mark VI, the Desert Rat, fast and lightly armed with machine guns. These were the first vehicles taken into combat by the Australian 6th Division in the sands of North Africa against the Italians. Universal Carrier LP2, the Ubiquitous. While the world built the Bren carrier, Australia built their own LP2 version. They welded the hulls instead of bolting them to be waterproof, building over 5,000 units to carry infantry across every front. Next, the Legends of World War II, 1940 to 1945. The Blitz Buggy, the Scrapyard Special. Before proper scout cars arrived, Australians took Ford trucks and literally bolted steel plates and concrete onto them in 1940. It looked crude, but it was the grandfather of Australian indigenous armor. M3 Scout Car, the White Car. Before the Dingoes arrived, Australia used these American armored cars for command and reconnaissance. Lightly armored but fast, they were essential in the early campaigns. Dingo Scout Car, the Lizard, an indigenous Australian scout car, not to be confused with the British version. Built on a Ford chassis, it was lighter and faster, perfect for patrolling the vast outback. M3 Stuart, the Honey, American-supplied light tanks. Australian crews loved them for their high speed and reliability, using them to flank enemies in the deserts of Tobruk and the jungles of Buna. M3 Grant, the Stopgap. Before the Shermans arrived, these double-gunned American tanks provided the heavy firepower needed to stop the Japanese advance. M3 Half-Track, the Workhorse, reliable and rugged. These semi-tracked carriers hauled troops and towed artillery through the mud of the Pacific campaigns where trucks simply couldn't go. Staghound Armored Car, the Occupation Force, a massive, heavy armored car armed with a 37mm gun. While they arrived late for combat, they were heavily used by Australian peacekeepers occupying Japan after the war. Matilda II, the Jungle Queen, the absolute icon of Australian World War II armor. While obsolete in Europe, in the Pacific jungles, its heavy armor made it invincible against Japanese fire. They were modified with mesh covers to stop grenades, becoming legendary bunker busters. Matilda Frog, the Dragon, an Australian modification of the Matilda. They replaced the main gun with a flamethrower, crucial for clearing thick jungle fortifications in Borneo where regular guns couldn't reach. Matilda Hedgehog, the Mortar, a rare and deadly Australian invention. A Matilda fitted with a naval 7-barreled mortar on the back deck, designed to rain explosives on bunkers while staying protected. Sentinel AC-1, the Desperation, Australia's first indigenous tank. Built when invasion seemed imminent, it featured the world's first fully cast hull to save manufacturing time. Sentinel AC-3, the Thunderbolt, the upgunned version of the Sentinel, carrying a 25-pounder howitzer to blast through enemy armor. Sentinel AC-4, the Experiment, the ultimate Australian design, successfully mounting the massive British 17-pounder anti-tank gun, proving local engineering could match the world's best. M4 Sherman, the Latecomer. Australia finally received American Shermans late in the war. While they saw limited combat compared to the Matilda, trials with them helped shape post-war tank doctrine. Moving into the Cold War era, 1946 to 1990. Uramba, the only SPG post-war, Australia converted M3 Lee hulls into self-propelled artillery armed with 25-pounder guns. It remains the only self-propelled gun ever manufactured in Australia. Ferret Scout Car, the Eyes, a tiny, British-made armored car used for liaison and reconnaissance. It served faithfully during peacekeeping missions and emergency patrols. Centurion Mark III, the Hammer, the first main battle tank of Australia. These British beasts brought massive firepower to the Royal Australian Armoured Corps. Centurion Mark 5/1, the Vietnam legend. Upgraded for the jungle, Australian crews removed the side skirts to prevent mud buildup and added extra armor. They proved that heavy tanks could fight in the jungle, saving countless infantry lives in Vietnam. Centurion ARV, the tow truck, the armored recovery vehicle version of the Centurion. Without a main gun, it used a massive winch to pull stuck tanks out of the deep Vietnamese mud. M113A1, the bucket, the standard battlefield taxi. Australia modified theirs with extra belly armor and gun shields, using them aggressively as light fighting vehicles in Vietnam. M125A1, the mortar carrier, an M113 modified with a large roof hatch to fire an 81mm mortar from inside the hull, providing immediate artillery support for the infantry. M577A1, the office, the high-top command post version of the M113. It served as the mobile headquarters for battalion commanders in the field. M113 fitter, the mechanic, a distinct variant of the M113 fitted with a hydraulic crane on the roof. It allowed mechanics to change tank engines right in the middle of the jungle. M113 FSV, the hybrid, fire support vehicle, a distinct Australian creation. They took the turret of a Saladin armored car and welded it onto an M113, giving infantry direct 76mm fire support. M113 MRV, the Scorpion, medium reconnaissance vehicle. The FSV had balance issues, so it was replaced by mounting the turret of a Scorpion light tank on the M113. It was faster, lighter, and deadlier. M548 tracked carrier, the mule. While the tanks fought, this unarmored, tracked cargo carrier did the heavy lifting. In the mud of Vietnam, it was the only vehicle that could carry tons of ammunition to the firebases when trucks got stuck. Leopard AS-1, the Hunter. Replacing the Centurion, Australia adopted the German Leopard 1. Customized with rabbit ear antennas and unique storage bins for the Australian heat, it served as the main guardian for 30 years. Leopard B-Bear, the bridge layer, an engineering marvel based on the Leopard chassis. It carried a scissor bridge that could be deployed in minutes to let the tank squadron cross rivers. Finally, the modern era wheels, speed, and heavy metal. Parenty 6x6, the Bush Ranger, a heavily modified Land Rover stretched to 6 wheels. Used by the SASR, these open-topped, long-range patrol vehicles are the modern equivalent of the Desert Rats. Supercat HMT Extenda, the Commando, the modern successor to the Parenty for Special Forces. This open-topped, high-mobility vehicle is designed to operate deep behind enemy lines for weeks at a time. ASLAV Type 1, the LAV, the Australian Light Armoured Vehicle, based on the U.S. Marines LAV-25 but upgraded for the harsh outback. It provides rapid reconnaissance and fire support. ASLAV Type 2 and 3, the carriers, turretless versions of the ASLAV used for troop transport, command, and ambulance duties, proving that wheels are the future of mobility. Bushmaster PMV, the Savior, the most famous Australian military export, a mine-resistant truck designed to deflect IED blasts. It has saved countless lives in Afghanistan and is now a global icon. Hawkeye PMV, the Viper, the Baby Bushmaster, a lightweight protected vehicle that can be sling-loaded by a helicopter, bringing armored protection to air mobile troops. M113 S4, the stretch limo. The M113 refused to die. Australia cut their old M113S in half and added an extra road wheel to make them longer. Fitted with a new turret and add-on armor, these stretched APCs are serving on the front lines today. M1A1 AIM Abrams, the Iron. When the Leopards retired, Australia switched to American power. These refurbished Abrams tanks are optimized for Australian sensors and communications, bringing heavy armor dominance to the region. M1150 Assault Breacher, the Shredder, Australia's newest acquisition based on the Abrams chassis. It carries a massive mine plow and fires explosive line charges to clear paths through minefields. M88A2 Hercules, the Beast, the recovery vehicle required to tow the Abrams. It is currently the heaviest and most powerful vehicle in the Australian inventory. Boxer CRV, the heavyweight, the replacement for the Aslav. This massive German 8x8 is arguably the most advanced wheeled combat vehicle in the world, featuring a 30mm cannon and anti-tank missiles. S9 Huntsman, the Thunder, a South Korean K9 Thunder howitzer being built in Australia. It will finally return self-propelled heavy artillery capability to the Army. S10. The Feeder, the armored ammunition resupply vehicle built on the same chassis as the Huntsman. It carries robotic arms to automatically reload the artillery in the heat of battle. S21 Redback, the Future, named after the deadly Spider, an advanced infantry fighting vehicle designed specifically for Australian needs, featuring active protection systems to shoot down missiles. This has been the Wardex catalog for Southern Steel.